thank you for having me here to this PI day. I've been excited about that, and I have an agenda that might be for someone. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm touching two different products here and trying to be very neutral about it. So what I'm going through now today is talk a little bit about who I am and about my company. And then I will tell you about planning analytics and planning analytics versus Power BI, and planning analytics, thousands of solutions, planning analytics and Cognos Analytics, and Cognos Analytics and Power BI, and then finally business analytics that contains both planning and Cognos versus Power BI. So I am the CEO and the part owner of CogniTech in Denmark. It's a company that started in 2019. I've been working since 1999 with Cognos Analytics. So since it was called Cognos 6, Cognos BI 6, and wasn't a part of IBM. And now I'm not working 100% of my time with Cognos, but I can't let it go. So I'm still a Cognos consultant, paired with my CEO role in the company. Let me just say that the CEO role takes a lot of my time. So, but I still keep on working with Cognos also, because I think it's also exciting to do some consultancy work still. I'm also instructing Cognos Analytics, and we build our own training material in CogniTech. So I also help doing that, and I help our salespeople do pre-sales presentations. I'm IBM champion for 2 years now. The first year was last year, and then I just was being announced as the IBM champion again for this year. So I'm very proud of that. I'm also IBM Analytics Hero, and I'm a board member in AIDAUG. Yes. CogniTech was founded after a management buyout in June 2019. And it was actually the department that I have been working with for over 20 years. So, we were a new company, but because we bought out the whole department, we actually started up with 14 employees, and of those 14 employees, we were 6 partners. So we actually had a partner for each area, so one for data warehousing, one for planning analytics, one for Cognos Analytics, one for Microsoft, and one on sales. And then I was responsible for the management part of the department. So so we all founded it in 2019. So we normally say we are a young company, but with over 20 years of experience. Now we have grown to 22 employees. We are mainly doing business in Denmark, or should I say the Queendom of Denmark, because we are also in Greenland and on the Faroe Islands. We don't have a department there, but we have customers in both places. We do consulting, implementation, and value creation of data and AI by our customers. We have primarily focus on IBM market-leading data and AI solutions, but we are also experts in Microsoft BI. And that's also why I can actually do this presentation today, because if I was only a Cognos fan, it would be a little bit biased for me to make this presentation. But we have been working with Microsoft BI also for the time in the company we was bought out from, but also in CogniTech. So our focus is on business intelligence, corporate performance management, where we work with budget forecasting and financial consolidation and all models where you can put in data. And we spiced everything up with AI. And on the ground of everything, we have a data warehouse where we are experts in Microsoft, IBM, and Oracle. And on the data science side, we work with both AI and machine learning using IBM SPSS, Watson, R, and Python technologies. So why did I think that this was a necessary presentation to make? It was because a lot of our customers often ask us about Power BI, because there's a lot of marketing work, and also a lot of customers has actually been trying Power BI, because it's the first license is free and you can do it on your own, and reminds maybe of Excel and so on. So they ask us what should they do about their Cognos solution? Should they just throw it out, or should they stay on it? And sometimes we meet customers using planning, that where they hear in the organization that now you just throw out planning and get in Power BI. And we also have on the other side someone working with Power BI, where some of the problems that you can have with or some of the missing things you have in Power BI, then they would like to have a more enterprise tool, and then they are looking at Cognos. So we were actually we were trying this presentation to our user groups in Denmark. And we just wanted to try and help select the right tool to the right task. So what we were saying is that you actually don't use a hammer to a screw, you would use a screwdriver instead, but you also don't use a BI tool for budgeting and forecasting. So that was actually our start on why we should do this presentation. And for maybe not all of you know what planning analytics is, so I'll just show you a demo of it. And here it has been a lot more visual. They've been working on the visual side with the planning analytics. So this is just, you go into a browser and get access to your budgeting system. And you can build it like you want it. So you can build it with visualizations, with crosstabs, with the prompts here on this page. You can build it totally like you want. And it's a little bit like working with dashboards when you're working with dashboards in Cognos. So what the difference is here is that if I, for example, go into my product overview, I see here in my P&L that I don't have any product sales. I only have my actual numbers. And that's because if I go into my product overview here, I don't have a sales price. So if I go in here and put in a sales price, sorry, that's just hold on.
That's what you, that's a risk of being direct, of making a direct, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. We all love dogs and pets. Okay, you're back.
There was someone knocking at the door and didn't understand that I was in a presentation, and then my dog started barking. So, but I'm back. And in here, if I wanted to put in a sales price, I can just add in the numbers. And if I make greater than, it will put in the same numbers all the way through the end. And then I can go back to my P&L, and I see I have now my revenue numbers in here. So what you're using planning for is every time you need to put in numbers in your models, or put in, you can also use it for, if you're missing some master data, you can actually also build up some master data in planning analytics. So the difference to BI is that that you have this write back functionality, and you don't have that in your BI products. So this is just what I wanted to show you about planning, if some of you haven't worked with a planning tool before that. So I'll just go back to my presentation. So about this right tool to the right task, if we look at planning analytics versus Power BI, we are actually, when we look on the budgeting side, where we need to put in numbers, not just show our budget, but we need to put in numbers. Then Planning Analytics is a really great tool for that. And you just saw that it's very easy. I can easily see who has put in the numbers, and so I have it's possible to make a workflow and follow up on all the budgeting people. And if I spice it up with AI, like Anders showed earlier, I can actually be very quickly finishing up my budget forecast every month. So this is what Planning Analytics actually is doing quite well, and this is also running forecast target settings. It's also where we can do that, and we're not able to put it into Power BI. I know I've been challenged on this to the presentation we did for our user groups in Denmark, where someone said, but then they can just use Power Apps. Yes, but my presentation is not about adding in other tools. This is out of the box products that I'm comparing it to. And you're not able to, in Power BI, put in numbers and do the budgeting. So if you need to do that on the Microsoft BI side, you either need to build a solution with Power Apps, or you need to use Excel for that. And also on the financial consolidation, you can also do some really nice work with Planning Analytics. I know some might be working with Cognos Controller, but we have a lot of our customers doing financial consolidation in Planning Analytics. And again, this is the right tool for that. It's not working with Power BI. Then you can do dashboarding. And now I should maybe have put it in parentheses, because I think you can make greater dashboards in Power BI than you can in Planning Analytics. But here you can have live updated dashboards in Planning Analytics, and to get it into Power BI, you need to make some work to get the numbers into Power BI. And also, if you want to, now you have made put in all the numbers, and you need to make reports and distribute reports. If you're not using dashboarding, distribution of reports is not something you're doing in Planning Analytics. So you're not able to make a report and export or distribute directly in from the planning portal. I've put in a yellow question mark because it's not, again, out of the box in Power BI, but you are able to buy some extra add-on tools to do that. But again, this is comparing out of the box. You can do some, maybe a few reports, but often you maybe want to send it out to hundreds of departments, and that's not the right tool to do that. Alerts and notifications is also not something you can do in Planning Analytics. You can do that in Power BI. What if scenarios, what if and scenario simulation. This is also something that Planning Analytics are really great for, because you can make sandboxes and you can play with your data and really want to see what if I do this, and what if I do this, and what if I do this. So it's really, really easy to do the simulations. So, and in these years where we have such a changing world, it's very important that you can also do the scenario simulation. Again, you're not able to do that because Power BI is just a presentation of data. So out of the box, it's not something where you change your data in it. Then you have your ad hoc analysis. You can actually do that also, like you saw in the planning presentation I just did. You can actually do some ad hoc analysis because you have the dashboard option in Planning Analytics, and it's live updated data where you can change the numbers and you can do the analysis of your data. And again, also in Power BI, it's very easy to do the analysis of your data. And again, analysis and dashboarding is just working so great together. I was a big fan of the old tool called Analysis Studio, if some of you know that. But now I've been I'm quite fond of the analysis using dashboarding, because it's very easy just to drag in more elements and do the filtering and exploring of the data. And then I have something that I call all kinds of data collection. It's just because sometimes you get data from a lot of places. We normally put that into the data warehouse behind it, but sometimes we also need to create our own data. So maybe you want to make other groupings, or you just need to create new data from the bottom. You can actually do that and use planning also to some mini master data system. Can you do that in Power BI? Not out of the box, but you could also make some workarounds where you make some report that writes back to your data warehouse. Then you have your Excel integration, you have that also in both products. So looking at these two products together, you need to find out what is it that I'm going to work with? Is it budgeting and forecasting, or some models where I need to make right back, or is it mostly analysis and reporting? And that's also why some of our planning users, they don't understand how can they in organizations choose to throw out planning and maybe introduce Power BI, because it's totally different purposes of the two products. It could be function well together. So because every time you have something that planning is good for, you don't have the option in Power BI, but making a combination of the two is actually making a strong solution. So where planning analytics is really great, is like I said, on the budgeting and forecasting, financial consolidation, what if and scenario simulations, and all kind of data collection. So if we see on how, what about the two products? Yeah, but you actually do the planning, you do actually do that in planning analytics. And then how has the performance been? You can actually do that also in planning, but a lot of that will be done on the BI side, in this example in Power BI, and also the follow-up will be, you'll do that. And learning, you can both learn in the planning and in the BI. So you have a great overlap of the two products, but there's something that you can only do in planning, and there's something you can only do in Power BI. So if you look into, now we call it TM1, it's still planning analytics. If some of you have tried planning analytics in the past, it was actually called TM1. So when I say that you can use it for budgeting and forecasting and consolidation, you can use it to so much more. So when you introduce this planning solution, look at where else in your company can you use it. We have a lot of custom usage for pricing and follow up on churn values and customer service, and we also have demand planning within purchasing and so on. So there's so many solutions. So talking about planning and only using it for budgeting and forecasting, you just don't get all the value out of the product that you could actually get. So please remember that and think about where you can use a product like this. Then we also have the Cognos Analytics, and I know it's strange maybe for me to show planning Cognos Analytics and not Power BI, but I just wanted to show you that the great thing. I just need to log in here. The great things about using Cognos is that I can actually. Oh, great. Let me see if I can remember the long password. But what you can actually do here is you have live reporting on top of your planning cubes. So you don't really have to do a lot of work to make the reporting on top of planning analytics when you're working with Cognos Analytics. So here you have the planning portal, and you can just have your Cognos put directly into your planning system. And here I have this. I know some of you will think, why do I show an old version? This is actually a part of the IBM system that I can't control, but I just wanted to show a P&L, and I don't have to be on the right version. So it's just to show that the data I just did on the planning, I actually have these numbers in here, and I can do reporting, and in here I can actually distribute my data. So without doing anything, I just need to publish the planning cube in Cognos, and I have it available for reporting. So that was just to show you how and why I can compare it to the other things in here. So if I now compare Cognos Analytics with Power BI, if we start in the top where we had the great things in planning on budgeting and forecasting, we are not able to do that in Cognos Analytics and Power BI. If we want to do it on both sides, we need another product to do that, and we can only do the presentation. then when we look at data governance, Cognos Analytics is an old product that has been working for many years, and you actually have a great data governance where you control your security, and you can follow up on all your users and see who makes who, and who can access what, and so on. And you don't have quite the same portal in Power BI. We have some other vendors also building their own portals in Power BI, they are using Teams or SharePoint, but they don't really have the same strong portal as you have in Cognos Analytics. And you have integrated AI and analysis. You have some tool called Watson Explorer, and you can get some really great AI analysis of your data in Cognos Analytics. You don't have quite the same in Power BI. You also have some AI in your Power BI, but not quite on the same level. Then you have dashboarding, and again, in some areas I think maybe Power BI is a little stronger on the dashboarding side. But in the last couple of years, Cognos has also again woken up, because when it was Cognos 10, it was really bad on the visualization side. But here in especially 11.2, we have seen a strong dashboard. But again, Power BI, when they actually started on the dashboarding side, and it's quite great what you can do on the dashboard side. And then you have the pixel perfect reports, where you can decide down to a small pixel how to build your reports. And this is where Cognos is really strong. I know that someone might say that you can also build reports in Power BI. Yes, but what we see is that a lot of the financial reports is really difficult to make in Power BI. So we often results in going back to Excel to do the pixel perfect reports. And also on the financial reports is the same. It's very easy to do that on the reporting side in Cognos. I also wouldn't do financial dashboarding in Cognos, because you often want to maybe highlight every second row or all the summaries, and it's not very easy doing that either in Cognos or in Power BI. And then you have the distribution of reports. This is one of the really strong assets of Cognos. Again, it's not out of the box. You can buy some robot tool in Power BI, but even though you have the robot tool, you don't have the same options to do the scheduling, and you can't. We have the event studio in Cognos, where you can set up rules for when the report should be sent out, and you have bursting. Means that you can put in mail addresses for each department, and it will just take one report and send it out to hundreds of departments. So this is where it's really strong, and you also have alert and notifications. You have that both in Cognos and Power BI. What if and scenario simulation, I have made it a little green in Cognos, because you need to work with extensions, accelerators, where you actually import that into to your Cognos system, and then you have the scenario. It's not at all like what you can do in planning. So if I want to do the scenario simulation, I would definitely use planning for that. And then we have the ad hoc analysis and self-service, and this is where Cognos and Power BI is really strong, and a lot of people can recognize, a lot of people is used to working in Excel, and they can recognize that in the user interface in Power BI. So I would say that the self-service side is even stronger on the Power BI side, because they are used to it, to see the same way of working in Power BI. If you then compare, I could also have put Planning Analytics together with Power BI. That might have been more exact, because now I get some red crosses here, and I only do that because that's where Planning Analytics is really great. So if I put Planning Analytics and Power BI on the right side, I would actually get a lot of more green signs in here, because budgeting and forecasting, that is planning. Financial consolidation is planning. Dashboarding, here I would definitely use the Cognos dashboarding and not the one from planning. But again, Power BI is really strong on the dashboard side. The pixel perfect reports that we have had for 30 years in Cognos is still really strong. And these three things fits really great together with the distribution, because we can't distribute a dashboard the same way we do with the pixel perfect reports. Dashboarding is something we do online mostly. I know that we are working on, and also in Power BI you can export it to PDF, but the real value you get that when you're online in dashboarding. So this is if we combine the products, we can actually get a lot stronger solution when working both for Planning and Cognos and also Planning and Power BI. So I think we have 3 minutes left. I just wanted to run quickly through the distribution of reports, because this is where the Cognos is really good. The distribution of reports, because this is what you're actually missing in Planning Analytics. So if you have a Planning Analytics solution, comparing it with combining it with Cognos, that makes it possible for you to distribute reports. And now you actually get a Cognos license together with a planning license. So this is where the two products are really different. So be sure to select the tool that solves your problem. Planning for budgeting and forecasting, or for solutions where you need to input data. BI for reporting and analysis. Stay updated, and you will not get you will not get optimal value of your investment. What I mean with that is, I see a lot of customer that is not upgrading to the newer versions. So all the great stuff that you get in new versions, they don't get the value of that. And suddenly it has been muggy and old, the product, and then they think we need another product for that. No, you don't need another product. You just need to stay updated on your product. And it's easier for you if you're on a cloud solution, then your vendor do that for you. And let management know the value of your solution. And yes, you can also use more than one tool. No, you cannot use more than one planning tool, after our opinion. So use your planning tool to more than budgeting and forecasting, because that gives you a lot of more value. Yes, questions?
So I don't have a question, but I just had a comment, and I think it's, I know that you're an IBM champion and that you're, but it was very fair. It sounded very fair. Like it was not about bashing Microsoft or exaggerating over IBM or the opposite. And I think it's, you did a great job, Rikke. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's also very important for me that it shouldn't be downgrading another vendor, because I actually think they have a great dashboarding tool.
Yeah, and it helps. I've seen so many people, you know, like it's too easy to trash a product just because it's not the product from your favorite vendor. And I think that is very well done. Has anyone a question? I'm sure that Ralph has questions, especially when it comes to pixel perfect positioning on things on screen and changing fonts and things like that.
Yes, and automating. How do you distribute your forecasts in IBM Cognos? I find that really stressing. Sending out the results every month to our 100 subscribers on management level, it's a hell of a job.
Yes, what we actually have done for a lot of our planning customers is that we have sold in one Cognos license, and then we are actually distributing it with using an active report in Cognos, because then they have a really great tool with so it's a PDF on steroids, and they don't have to go online, because we sometimes see, especially on management and top management, that they're not very good at going online to check out their numbers.
That's so cool, Rikke. That's so cool. Our time is over. Why don't you explain a little bit more about that on Slack? We keep the discussion going on Slack. That's super interesting. I want to hear more about that.
Yes.
Huh? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rikke.
Welcome.
Artificial intelligence.
Data. Analytics.
User group.
AIDAUG.
Join AIDAUG today.